All right. Let's get it. So, I'm coming to you today as the direct sales master, the sovereign money changer. All right. And I have a vision. I have sight. All right. I'm a seer. All right. So, listen, I'm telling you now, normally I just go about my business of being a first responder. I see something, I'm shown something, something's revealed to me, and then we take action. All right. But now, 21 years into the game, we have perfected the art of being about our Father's business and saving lives in natural and man made disasters. So, the direct sales master, sovereign money changer, the, the, the man made disaster that I find myself responding to over and over and over again is this economy of debt slavery, economy of usury. So in 2012, a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, Saucony Scott, gave me a call. I just came back off a cruise. Saucony Scott was trying to introduce me to this gentleman. I never met this gentleman before. I didn't know him from Adam, right? But Saucony Scott was listen, I know you down there in Orlando area. My man is coming to Orlando and he's coming to Tampa. And I know what you're doing in your program and I know what you're doing. I know the work that you do. And the work that I do is for the past 21 years, I've been taking resources into the community and exposing underprivileged families to opportunities that people never ever bring to that lower bottom rung of society. All right, that's what I do. Somebody did it for me when I was at that period. I was a college student, married, about to have my first child. I was in school. My wife was in school. I didn't want my wife to stop going to school. And somebody by the name of Don Howard came and introduced a waterless car wash solution called Dry Wash and Guard and tore his appointment book in half and gave me half of his clientele, taught me how to detail the cars with the waterless car wash solution. It was a direct sales company called Envirotech. I had never heard of direct sales Envirotech before, so he put me on to everything and showed me how to feed my family and get out of that tight crunch. And from that day to this, I've been passing it along to others what Don and so many others have poured into me. So by this time in 2012, my wife and I had been 15 years into the game. Chicago, everywhere we go, we find resources that don't normally come to people like who are in the situation that we were in. And then we give them opportunities just like Don and everybody else has given to us. So Saucony called me like, you got to meet Thomas. And when I met Thomas, I saw something immediately. Thomas said something at my very first meeting. He said he was given a presentation about his direct sales opportunity, and he said something specifically. He said, you got to determine what's your why. You got to determine what is your why for why you want to have success or why you want to break the negative chain of poverty in your life, the generational. And when he said, what's your why? I'm already, that's my right hand man, E.T. the hip hop preacher. I already know where that came from. So, long story short, me and this gentleman have a conversation after the thing is over. And it wasn't even about his product. To tell you the truth, it was about a movement. I saw a movement. Thomas and the individuals in his company had a movement that I had never seen before in the direct sales industry. And the movement was called Building God's Kingdom. Building God's Kingdom. They had a movement inside of their company's opportunity called Building God's Kingdom. I lie to you not. Now, mind you, in 2008 and 2009, I have a mentoring program. I've got an outreach program for over 15 years. I got grants from the mayor of Orlando to do my program. But because of the recession, I lost half of the people in my community outreach mentoring program. The families were suffering so hard because of too big to fail. They corporate Wall Street stole all of the money, bailed out all of the banks, and left Main Street America high and dry. And my people in my program paid for it. So I was looking for some way to alleviate the suffering. And when I walk in the room, I meet Thomas, and Thomas says, "What's your why?" I immediately see ET, and I'm like, okay, here's an opportunity to do something even bigger and better than I've ever seen an opportunity before in direct sales. And from that day till this, I've been using their mantra of building God's kingdom. I've added it on to what I've been doing for the past 15, 20 years. And I want to tell you that there is an opportunity right now. I don't care what your financial outlook is. You cannot work your way out of the situation in the United States of America. You need to be introduced to the blueprints of individuals like Thomas and the network of individuals that I put together for over the past 21 years. I'm going to let him share with you just a little bit about the vision of how to change your mind state and be prepared for this type of opportunity. If you would like to get down with the movement of building God's kingdom through making and restoring households and giving households a fighting chance at abundant life, then there is a new pathway out here, and here is the vision.
So I want to tell you guys today, we're in a business, a lot of us here are in a business that you can make a decision and over a period of years be someplace different than you expect it to be. You're in a business that over a period of years you can go from broke to being rich, unabashedly rich. I ain't talking chump change rich. For a lot of us in this room today, when we think about savings and having money, the amount of savings that we have is what is in our credit card or debit card, right? We don't have any savings to speak of. I read a story this week about philodendron. Anybody know what a philodendron is? Awesome. A philodendron is a plant. It usually grows up to 6 or 7 feet high. There's a lady named Miss Scarto. She's 62 years old, and she just left in her will $5,000 for her philodendron. She's afraid that her philodendron is going to outlive her, and she says, who's going to take care of my philodendron? She says she has no family to really speak of, and a few siblings and friends that she has don't value her plant. So she told her lawyer to set aside $5 grand. Most of us in this room, we can't set aside $5 grand if our mother died. We can't set aside $5 grand if our kid needed to go to college. We don't have $5 grand to put aside to get a new car. Am I right? And this woman's putting aside money for a philodendron. We got to do something different than what we're doing, y'all. If you expect to get to someplace different, we got to what? Do something different. So the goal tonight is that when you leave here, you've got a plan. You've got a plan of action. A plan to get to someplace that you've never got to. And I'm sorry, Brother Paul, that so many people have lied to us. And those people have told us that it was going to be easy. I never said it be easy. All I said was that it was going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be what? Worth it. If you took a caterpillar and you cut him out of his cocoon, he'll never learn how to fly. Y'all know that? Yeah. He's got to fight his way out. God made it, so he's got to fight his way out so he can get some strength in his wings. And y'all want somebody to cut you out. Y'all are so quick to give up on anything. Yeah, give up on your marriage. Give up on your kids. Give up on your job. Give up on your business. Start giving up and start getting up. Right? Break the sweat. It ain't nothing wrong with breaking a sweat, y'all. So the goal today is we're going to teach everybody here how to be successful. It's really very simple. It's a simple formula, and a lot of people in this room have mastered the formula. Is that all right? Yes. It is my awesome and incredible pleasure.
Now listen to me. I met Thomas literally October of 2014. And by May of, we had a conversation that night after I saw the presentation. I went down front and I talked to him. And I told him straight up. I said, listen, I've been in the game, the break the cycle game, with the gentleman that you referred to earlier, E.T. the hip hop preacher, since back in Oakwood. That's when I found out he was an alumnus of Oakwood, and that's why he was following E.T. and quoting the What You Why like that, all right? So what I told Thomas is, I said, listen, I could see us doing some crazy things together. Not just in the direct sales industry, but where I work, on the day-to-day, everyday streets, in lives of regular, everyday families. My families is suffering, and an extra $500 a month reality would change their life. I got some people who stay after in my program. I got 3 boys who was staying after in my program, and I'm like, man, it's 2 hours after the program at. Where your mom at? Come to find out, it wasn't no lights on at the crib. They was staying at the rec center at the gym with me because there wasn't no lights there. And we had sack lunches, we had snacks, but they wouldn't go home because there was no lights at the crib. An extra $500 a month would change your family's life in that situation. An extra $750, an extra $1,000. So I told Thomas, I said, listen, if you show me the blueprint, I'll take this blueprint and I'll roll this blueprint out, and I'll bridge the gap between those who need it most and you who, if you can teach it, we can teach it and learn it and train it. Building God's kingdom, that's what we do. And a year later, we put together this event right here to introduce that same E.T. the hip hop preacher to Thomas's whole company. Thomas Saccone, the gentleman who introduced me to Thomas, and I saw this event right here happen probably a year before it even happened. And when I'm telling you that this event changed lives, this was in Atlantic City in 2015, a few months after I met Thomas. What I want to tell you is, we're at that moment again. I see the same signs in the economy that I saw 2008, 2009. Our vice president was down in West Virginia talking all type of crazy stuff about the economy. Talking about he about to roll out the biggest tax cut since Reagan. We all know what happened once they give all of those tax cuts to the rich and the trickle down economic. It never happens. So I'm not going to wait for the recession to happen. I'm already putting together another event like this. Life-changing event. We're going to put the individuals in the room in Orlando, Florida, that have the blueprint. I just talked to E.T., the hip hop preacher, this past Saturday. If y'all come out and respond like y'all want to be in the room, E.T. will show up and be in the room. If y'all want the information on how to change your life and do something different, that's what Thomas said. You want to get something different, you got to do something different. What you doing is not working. I got the statistics. 90% of single parent head household are led by women who are at or below the poverty line. You want something different, you got to do something different. It's 120 million Americans who are in this working poor category where you're working, but your wages that you're receiving is not a living wage. So you still have to go to soup kitchens, and Americans are sleeping in shelters and have jobs and children. When I have a network of individuals who not only have come from those same Thomas from the Bronx, I'm talking about super poor, E.T. from the D, eating out of trash cans. Y'all talk about rags to riches. I got a whole stable of them. I'm going to put them in a room. The end of June, Orlando, Florida. It's called the Father's Wish New Deal. There is a new movement going on. Listen, I see these movements. I jump out here and I do something about them ahead of time. This man's company in 2015 alone did $120 million in revenue in 2015 alone. Like, just imagine, we're going through a recession. That's $120 million going back into the economy all over the country. That you can't. It's not happening at Walmart. It's not happening at Burger King. It's not happening at H&M. H&M ain't putting $120 million back into the economy. It's not happening with General Motors. It ain't happening with Ford. It ain't happening with none of them. They talk about they going to add 20 million new jobs. They not. 120 million is not going back into the economy. The next year they did like 145 million. Listen, families' lives are being changed, and if you want to learn how to make an additional $500, it don't even matter the company. It's the movement. I'm talking about the movement. There is a systematic way to have abundant life, and these individuals had a blueprint and are willing, all have community outreach programs and give back. All I'm doing is making an introduction. All right? So, if you want to join this movement, it's called the Father's Wish New Deal. All right? Get at me, and I'll gladly put you in the room. The purpose of being in the room is, over the next 90 days, to incorporate the principles that I've already gleaned from them. I have the blueprints. I have the principles. I'm going to teach it to you over the next 90 days. And then when we go there the next night at the actual event, we're going there to get empowered and motivated so that you then can go out and help me launch some additional families all across the country to have abundant life. It's not to ride off into the sunset with all of this. Nah, this ain't no get rich quick scheme. No, this is feeding of the 5,000. We're going to break some bread 90 days to the end of June and teach you that it's possible to change a life in 90 days. And then you're going to enter into a covenant and commit to me to go out and do to some other people what I do to you. Exactly what Don Howard did to me, I'm going to pour into you and ask you and challenge you to pour into somebody else. That's what we do. The Father's Wish New Deal. Let's get it.